Welcome to Season 4 of the Sports Podcast, award-winning 147 Snooker podcast with me, Sports MC Phil Seymour, and him, the former world champion and Triple Crown winner, the magician, Shaun Murphy. And true to our word, Shaun, it's only been 2 weeks since the last podcast. We've kept our promise.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? We are setting records in this new season. We made a promise and we kept it.
First time for everything, isn't there? How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm really, really good. Down in Cheltenham at the moment, as you can see from my surroundings, we're a visual performance now as well. Welcome to my bedroom.
That's
here in
oh God, Shaun.
in the Airbnb of Cheltenham.
No.
Yeah, we did try and full transparency. We did have a go at doing this a few minutes ago in what is officially the study of this property, but it was too echoey, wasn't it? You said it was something like a cave.
Yeah, all the audio files get stuck into me about the quality of the sound on our podcast. So we do try. If we'd left it like it was like Shaun was literally in a cave shouting. So he's gone to his bedroom where the magic happens, which we don't need to know about, and. Yeah, or not.
They don't call me the magician.
They don't call me the magician for not,
No, they just don't call me it.
No, they don't. This is true, actually. This is true.
Before we go any further, I can see that's a very brightly coloured shirt you're wearing. It says something on it. What does it say?
So, sorry, for those that are using the audio service, this will make no sense whatsoever.
Well, hop over to the YouTube channel and watch it, guys.
Have a look on Shaun's YouTube channel. It says... This is my orange shirt.
Very good.
Which will make no sense to anyone unless you know and understand the singer Ben Brown, which is one of my daughter's favourite singers. She's got This Is My Pink shirt. So we go twinning. I wear my orange one. She wears a pink one. And
I'm just delighted that your musical tastes are now being influenced by your youngest child.
What can I say? Go and just look up Ben Brown, songwriter. The man's a genius. One of Lottie's favourite bedtime songs is Kathmandu, which is a great song. He is one of these people who's just the right side of completely crackers. But we love him. He's great. So that's why I'm wearing bright orange.
I used to be there.
Yeah, I'm going to see him on Thursday night, actually, in Edinburgh. There you go.
Very good.
But I'm in Scotland.
Do you know what? Retirement suits you.
I know. It's not bad, is it? Retirement. Do you know what? I haven't stopped since our last podcast.
Do you know, I thought about you last night when I walked out to play my first match here in Cheltenham. I thought about you.
Where was that?
Because, you're a proper MC. You are an official sports MC.
I'd like to think so. Yeah.
Ken Doherty was the MC last night at the Snooker.
Yeah, don't.
I know people take the mickey out of me saying, I do too many jobs and too much work. Ken was doing the MC, and
Ken,
I was,
Ken does everything. Ken did my plumbing last week. He's brilliant. Ken can do everything. I did get some messages in the afternoon. Because apparently he said good evening yesterday afternoon. But yeah, you can forgive Ken anything. Ken's just brilliant, isn't he? Yeah. I'm guessing is Rob there now?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm guessing Rob will have been at the.
It was something came bursting through the practice room earlier on. It was either Rob or the Tasmanian Devil. I'm not sure.
It's the same thing. There's no difference between those two.
Same.
I'm guessing Rob will have been over at the athletics at the World Championship, so he's probably just coming in one day late.
Hot-footed it from Tokyo.
Yeah, but let's face it, Ken can do everything, can't he? You can't say no to Ken. He does absolutely everything. So the man's a genius. But yeah, do you know what? I've not stopped. I'm in Scotland now. I'm in Scotland for the rest of this week. I've been since the last podcast. I've been to Denmark again. I went swimming in a fjord. People that follow my social media will have seen that. Yes. It was very, very cold, but it was good fun.
Question, before we go any further, what's the difference between a fjord and a river?
Right. A fjord is salt water.
Oh, right. Okay.
A river's freshwater. So a fjord is more sea than river. So it's over here, we just have mouths of river where it just opens up to the river. Over there, they open up much further inland. So it's more almost like a saltwater lake, really.
I'll tell you what, guys, as well, here, you are getting value for money this week because we are the Snooker podcast that's not a Snooker podcast. Here we are talking about the difference between saltwater.
Yeah. Do you know what? Let's add to that because this last weekend I did darts at Butlins with our good friend Wayne Mardle and Adrian Lewis. And on Saturday night, I hosted the Warrington Wolves end of season, the Super League Club Warrington Wolves end of season dinner and awards. So there's been a bit of rugby league, there's been a bit of darts, there's been a bit of boxing, bit of swimming in fjords. It's been uh, it's been a fun 2 weeks actually, Sean.
Fair
What
play to you.
have you been up to much? Busy at the English Open last week?
I've been playing snooker.
Yeah.
That's it. Busy at the English Open. I mean, I was for a bit. I was
Yeah.
quite busy in the first few days, and then I ran into Jackson Page, um, who hadn't read the same script as I'd read.
No.
So he went through me, unfortunately.
Should we should we talk about your first round game though?
Can do, yeah. I'd be delighted to, yeah.
That wasn't bad.
No, that wasn't bad.
It
Uh,
wasn't bad. Uh,
yeah.
I actually thought, well, what were the breaks again? Can you remember?
Oh, you've put me on the spot here now. No, I can't remember. I know it was three centuries on the bounce, and I had a chance to make four, which doesn't come around very often. I was absolutely gutted. I have to say, I was actually really gutted afterwards because, like, you don't get a chance to make four centuries. It doesn't happen.
So so my message afterwards, you'll have really appreciated that. Then the wasn't bothered in the fourth frame. Then
Yeah, you really know how to do the old, post match text. Yeah,
rub it
you're
in,
really good at that. I have to
rub it
say.
in.
You're one bad text away from getting blocked at this stage.
That's happy days as far as I'm concerned.
To be fair, you're always close to getting blocked. So nothing's changed there. No, listen, it was a tough week in the English Open because I was playing well, played nicely again,
Yep.
had a good couple of wins. You start to think about, maybe this is the week, and then you run into your opponent. Now, having said that, I made the little comeback to 3-all. I had my chance in the last, and I blew it. So I can't be too gutted. There's been a lot of matches where I just haven't had that opportunity. So at least I could leave Brentwood and think, do you know what? I actually had my chance and I messed it up. So, I've gone back to the drawing board, kept on practicing over the weekend, came down to Cheltenham, played well last night in my first game, and looking forward to, hopefully a good week here in Gloucestershire.
Great stuff. Well, we'll talk about the English Open in a minute and what happened from there. Can I just say before we do anything else, thank you for all the messages we've had. We were away we had a few months off. We've come back. I don't think we appreciate what this podcast means to some people. I think, some people really take a lot from this podcast and enjoy it thoroughly. So thank you for all the messages we've had. They're really appreciated. They really are. It's very, very kind words people have sent in. Weirdly, everyone agreed with your rant on the last podcast, which I'm not used to that. Normally, you raise hell with your rant, but this time, I think it was about 100% of people backing you, slamming irresponsible dog walkers.
Couldn't have been.
I was stunned.
Are you telling me the majority of listeners agreed with me?
Not just the majority, I think it was like 99%, if not more than that. And
Wow.
not just that, you really galvanized people. The response to it was huge. So many messages. So many replies.
Sales of dog leads has gone through the roof.
Absolutely mad response to that. But listen, keep those messages coming in. We do appreciate them. They are good. As we said, this will be once again on Shaun's YouTube, Shaun Murphy Snooker on YouTube.
Yep.
Yep, Shaun Murphy Snooker on YouTube, as well as being on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everywhere else you get your podcasts from as well. It will be on the video service too. Right. Since our last podcast, well, sadly today has been announced Dickie Bird, the legendary cricket umpire, has passed away. I think he was 92, 93. So he's had a good innings, to use a cricket saying. I met him once, and he was exactly as I wanted him to be. He was lovely, just a lovely man.
Would have exactly the same story. I met him once. Not 100% sure where it was, but I definitely met him at some sportsman's dinner or something like that. And yeah, would totally echo what you said. He was exactly how I thought he was going to be. I found him a really lovely man. And
He was like your granddad, wasn't he? He was literally just like your granddad. He was just a really nice guy. And yeah, rest in peace, Dickie Bird, because you're a legend in the sport of cricket and in the world of sport generally.
just quickly on that, though, just quickly, whilst we're here, would Dickie Bird, now I know they're not called referees in
Yeah.
cricket, but go with me here. Would he be the most famous sports referee slash umpire? Is he in the top? Is he in the top three, the top five? Is Len Ganley in the top three, top five?
Collina's in there, isn't he? The bald Italian football referee.
He's in there.
Kalina's got to be in
Who's the
that.
most famous referee?
I would say Kalina is the most famous. I would say Kalina
If
probably.
Kalina didn't have those maniac eyes, would he have been as famous?
Yeah, but he's
You know, he
got.
had that proper like look,
He
didn't he?
had those eyes, didn't he? I mean, he was a
He had that proper
scary
like
individual.
I'm talking to you. Yes,
Yeah,
you.
he was a scary individual. I think for me, Kalina, then Dickie Bird. I'm not sure who comes in at three. Could be Lenganley. Could be Lenganley. I'm not sure actually. Well, throw that one out to the listeners. What do you think? Who's the most famous official, sports official?
Who's the top five most famous sports referees
Wow.
slash umpires in the world?
Well, we're going to come on to the top three, our new top three feature later on, because we've got a good one that's been sent in from a listener. So
I'm still thinking about my top three
oh,
on that.
we need to get them right. Right, Dickie Bird, rest in peace. Now, a very, very sad one. Ricky Hatton. Absolute legend. That came as a bolt from the blue. I was sat in Billund Airport in Denmark, coming back from a boxing show, and the promoter over there messaged me and said, "I've just heard Ricky Hatton's died." I won't tell you what I responded with. It's not repeatable, but absolutely stunned in one way, absolutely not stunned in another. If you watch the Hatton documentary, you know the troubles he's had. We don't know yet exactly what happened. It's not come out. I kind of hope it doesn't really. That I don't think stuff like that needs to. Um, but what a legend! I was there the night he beat Kostya. I was there as a fan at Manchester Arena. What a night that was! That was absolutely incredible that night. I've never known a sporting atmosphere quite like that night. Never before, never since. I was there as a fan. It was amazing. Since then, I've got to know Ricky a little bit. We've worked together a few times. I've hosted a dinner with him, and he coaches, he trains now. So I used to see him at a lot of boxing shows. And he's the last words he ever said to me are going to stick with me now forever because I did a boxing show early this year on the pitch at Wakefield Trinity. It was at pretty much the hottest day of the year, and we're doing an outdoor boxing show, right? So for the first time ever, I didn't wear a dinner jacket for a boxing show. So
Wow.
I went with a waistcoat, shirt, bow tie. Okay. And Ricky had a lad fighting on it, and he won. And I announced the victory. And then Ricky came up behind me, put his hand on my shoulder, and he says, "Phil, I won't tell you exactly what he said. I'm taking one word out because I can't say it on a podcast." He said, "Phil, I bet you can't wait to get that bow tie off, can you?" And that turns out that was his last ever words to me, which that kind of tickles me actually. But very, very sad. He leaves a family behind. He leaves a lot of friends, a lot of close people. I know Paul Speak, his manager, found him. Really feel for Paul. They were very, very close, and yeah, just terribly, terribly sad. But what a legend! I don't think I've ever known a boxer be as loved as Ricky Hatton was. Full stop.
Yeah, yeah, I would add my condolences with yours. I just think I never met him, but you know, I was part of that group that got right behind him when he was, you
Yeah.
know, doing the fights that made him famous, I suppose, and the whole country seemed to galvanize behind him. He was, you know, he seemed such a likable person, and everybody sort of was in his corner. I think my brother met him a couple of times, or at least once, because my brother fought a couple of white collar
Okay.
fights, which I know Ricky attended, and you know it was a big deal for him to meet Ricky. He was a big fan of his, and um, you know, yeah, our paths never crossed, but he was always somebody I remember again, like you know, from years gone by, where I would have been sat up late watching him fighting, you know, Mayweather or when it was Pacquiao or whoever it was. You know, those fights. As I say, everybody became a boxing expert, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
Um, and yeah, very, very sad. Couldn't believe that. Didn't see that coming at all. And I suppose a bit like you just said, kind of hope really like, you know, if there are any you sort of
Yeah.
not nice parts to the story,
Listen, it
almost
doesn't.
hope that they don't come out, but
It doesn't need to come out. It doesn't.
doesn't
Nothing
need
like that
to.
needs to come out. Listen, he's gone. It's terribly sad, and I
Yeah.
feel for his family and his friends. It's
Yeah.
it's awful, and yeah, again, like Dickie Bird, anyone that never met Ricky Hatton, I can tell you now, he was exactly as you'd want him to be.
Mm,
He came into room, he lit it up. You know, he would give time to everyone. He'd speak to everyone. He wasn't. There was no prima donna about him.
mm,
You know, he finished boxing and he went straight into coaching and training, and he was in the corner with a spit bucket. You know, there was no
mm.
airs and graces. It was just Ricky or Rick, and yeah, he was just a thoroughly nice guy to meet and chat to. So yeah, Ricky Hatton, you're a legend. Rest in peace. Very, very sad. Right, moving on to snooker then. English Open last week then. Mark Allen, comeback king. Goodness me. I mean, I think he came back in every match. He looked like he was sailing in the final, but then decided to make it more difficult by having to come back. Um, he was pushed there, wasn't he? What a final that was.
Yeah, incredible. Like I don't know if someone told him you don't have to play the full allocation of frames. Did I see something somewhere? Did he play almost every frame that he could have played
I,
last
I
week?
think he either did or he was very close to doing that. I think he didn't he say in his post match, he said, "But I've certainly given value for money this week."
Yeah, yeah.
Not wrong, he did.
He also went in and said something about the rankings, didn't he? Afterwards, he sort of made the point that he didn't think the rankings they needed looking at because he's won an event, and Neil Robertson won an event a few weeks ago, and there's £400,000 difference
Yeah.
and 400,000 points, and a couple of the matches are longer in Saudi, of course, but it's an interesting point anyway, in terms of the rankings being based on
Mm.
the money list now, and there's such a disparity between the highest paid
Yeah.
tournaments and the lowest paid tournaments.
I mean,
Winning's
Saudi,
winning, isn't it?
Saudi,
Winning's difficult.
yeah, Saudi really skews that, doesn't it? I mean, the world has always skewed it, but you kind of allow for that 'cause it's the world championship. Saudi is really skewing it even further now because you've got two world championships effectively from a money perspective, which is then a points perspective. You've said before about having a points based list, which isn't on the money. You're beating the same players. You're beating the same players to get the points. I don't know whether it'll be one that does get talked about at some point. I think it's going to have to at some point.
Well, I think if you took a poll of the players, I think all of the players want it to go back to a points-based system. I think when it changed to money years ago, I think everyone thought it was great, but it was sort of around the explosion. It was around when
Yeah,
Barry
yeah,
took over the game 15 years ago. But there wasn't that difference between the lowest paid event and the highest paid event. It wasn't as stark. Um, I remember at some stage in the last few years winning the Gibraltar Open. I won it and went backwards. So
remember that.
not sure about that, and probably would agree with Mark's points on it. I think all is probably a bit too far, but most of the players, if you ask them, they'd like to see the return of a points-based system. I think keep the money list, like have the money list in the background, no problem with that, and have it and show it and use it for whatever you want. But in terms of the rankings, a win is a win,
Yeah,
and some events are more difficult to win than others. That's fine. Show that in the rankings. That's no problem. But it's all right increasing the value of some events by having big prizes, but you then obviously devalue the others.
yeah,
If it were a points-based system, which was a bit easier to sort of award merit, then maybe that might be a better system. But
possibly. Well,
that's
yeah,
for that's for
I
the
think
powers that be.
yeah, at some point, I think it's going to be looked at. It's going to have to be looked at some point. If enough players keep pushing and keep talking about it, at some point, it's probably going to have to be looked at. Another two maximum breaks in Brentwood as well. Ali Carter and Aaron Hill. And they didn't Ali score his against Aaron as well.
Yeah, he did.
It's
Yeah,
a mad quirk, isn't it?
very strange. Yeah,
Aaron
very
beat him.
strange. It actually happened. I was actually in play at the time, and I had no idea. There was a big cheer down at the other end of the room, and I'd absolutely no idea what had happened because it didn't feel like a 147 cheer.
Right.
And usually when someone's on a 147, like you get the sense.
Hmm.
Um, we were at the other end of the room. We had no idea it had happened, so we just carried on playing. I actually didn't know he'd done it until I was interviewed by Rachel Casey after the match. She said, what a night it's been. Of course, Ali made the maximum. And I was like, did he? I didn't know he had. Did he?
Normally it all stops, doesn't it? Normally everyone knows.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, no, it was a strange one. So yeah, sorry, Ali. We carried on playing. We didn't know. We didn't know what was happening.
Very, very strange. Right now, Brentwood. I mean, the venue's had a few knockers over the years, over the last few years. It's had people having a go. Crowds look good to
Great
me.
crowds. Yeah, the
Watching
crowds were
on
really good.
watching on TV, the crowds look good. Is this a case of a venue growing into a tournament? And we've talked about this before about how the English Open in particular has been moved around from place to place to place. Is it now that it's almost finding a home in Brentwood, people starting to know about it, therefore the crowds are getting a little bit better?
Possibly. I mean, I've played in Brentwood many times back in the old Premier League days. I actually made my TV
That's
debut
right, yeah.
in the Brentwood Centre about 55 years ago.
And
Many,
the rest.
many years ago as a little boy, playing a frame challenge match against Ronnie O'Sullivan, actually. And that was in that room. And I think that area has always been a snooker stronghold.
Yeah.
It's always got good crowds. I think certainly in terms of the players, and they've been quite vocal and critical of the venue. Um, I know the players, like, we're not a fan of playing in sports halls and leisure centres. It doesn't work from a table conditions point of view. It just doesn't work. And that's been consistent, for years. Um, and yeah, like, it's difficult. Like, the players' lounge is underneath the big gym, and these athletes are strong enough to pick the weights up, but then they throw them on the ground, and it sounds like they're nearly coming through the roof. And it's just, it's 120 odd players in possibly the smallest players' lounge on the tour. It's not ideal. What I found surprising was that, and we're gonna come to this in a minute. I'm not going to skip onto it straight away, but I was slightly vexed that it
That's
felt as
a
if.
good word.
Thank you. It felt as if even some of the bosses at Matchroom were mocking
Mm,
the venue on
yeah.
the Netflix documentary that
Let's,
features Matchroom, The Greatest Showmen. It almost felt a bit like they were having a bit of a dig at it as well.
keep your powder dry on that. We'll come back to that in a minute. Okay. We'll come back to that in a minute. What I found weird last week was the TV schedule because there's been all this hoo-ha about it's on TNT and everything else. And then seemingly from nowhere, a few days before the tournament started, it was announced, oh, actually, afternoon sessions are going to be on DMAX. So that's going to be on like free to air, as it were, television, which I thought, oh, that's great. That's brilliant. And then the final was as well at the weekend.
We
And
were talking about this a few episodes ago, or the
yeah, we
most.
were, yeah.
So we were talking about subscriptions and paying for extra things. If you've subscribed to these other services to watch the snooker because you're desperate to pay this, and you've paid what was it, 30 quid a month for
Right.
TNT?
Now you've gone there. I wasn't going to go there, right? Because
How annoyed
yeah,
would you be if you've
mate,
done that and then they put it on for nothing? How annoyed would you be?
but it's very difficult for us to criticize them putting it behind a paywall, and then when they take it away from the paywall, we go, "How would you feel if you paid 30 quid a month?" It more
How
people
would you?
see it,
But
which is
how
great.
would you feel?
I don't know. I'd love to know what the thinking is. I would love to know what the train of thought was to tell people it's all on TNT, start charging 30 quid a month, and then put it on DMAX. I mean, that was weird. They weren't all on DMAX. It wasn't all on there. Some of it was, some of it wasn't. But I don't know. I sort of wish they would come out and they would say, right, this is the season. That tournament's on ITV. That tournament's on BBC. That tournament's going to be on DMAX, or that tournament's going to be purely on TNT. And tell people so they know, because then surely people can then make that informed decision to either pay for the subscription service if they want to, if they can afford to, or not. And like you say, yeah, I am sort of in that camp. If you paid 30 quid a month and it turns out you didn't have to, you would be fuming.
But
Um,
you're half Scottish, half Yorkshireman.
yeah, so I mean, I can literally peel an orange without taking it out of my pocket. I'm that tight.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, you wouldn't give you a nod in the desert, would you, if you walked past it? So,
No.
how would you feel?
Well, I mean, I haven't paid for it. That's how tight I am.
Hmm.
I've
Anyway,
not paid the 30 quid. It's a weird one. It's a
it was a
really.
weird. It was a weird one. That, yeah.
Anyway, this week's snooker is all on ITV. So that's all happy days. ITV4 and ITVX for table two, which you were on last night. British Open down in Cheltenham. They always use it. It's a cliche, the FA Cup style draw. I don't mind that saying. I think it's great. And do you know what? I think it adds to this tournament as well because it's different, isn't it? You can't see that draw with it all in there and who you're going to play in the quarterfinals if you reach it and everything else. It's great. I think it adds an element of surprise.
I totally agree. I really like it.
Mm.
And there's a little bit of buzz backstage when the draw is like going to be done, or someone's talking. Oh, who do you think you might get? And no matter what anyone says, there's always that you think, I'd rather not play them, and I don't really want to play them. And there will be some stinkers
Yeah.
come out this week. I think the first time we played this event, once it was brought back a few years ago, I think I played Mark Selby in the first round. Like, cheers. You
I love
know,
it for that though. I love it for that. Didn't Selby go on to win it? No. I'm not
I
sure.
think he's defending champion.
Right. Oh, he is this time. Yeah, it was his first ITV tournament win, wasn't it, last year? Of course. I think it's great. I think it adds to it. I think it's brilliant. So that's in Cheltenham all week. That's on ITV. We're recording this on Tuesday evening. Session has just started. You play tomorrow afternoon. Is that right?
That's right. Yep,
And who
that's
have you
right.
got?
I'm playing Scott Donaldson.
Scott Donaldson,
Yeah,
the potting Prince of Perthshire. What a great name. Funnily enough, I'll be in Perth
that's not
tomorrow
easy to say,
afternoon.
is it?
It's not. No,
That's not
that's
easy to say.
one of the reasons why he doesn't have his nickname anymore.
Mm. I'll tell you
Gonna
what I know is that I think it was the last time we played was in the Scottish Open up in Edinburgh, and he absolutely wiped the floor with me.
be. I'll tell you
Yeah,
what. I hate to say it because you're playing him tomorrow. Great player though when he's on form. He's a
yeah,
very
really, really tough
yeah
player.
yeah tough.
Really likable as well. I'm quite fond of Scott.
Yeah,
So
really nice lad. Nice
it's
lad.
going to be a tough match. That we're on table one after the Judd Trump match, so at least you'll be somewhere near your start time.
Yeah.
They've said it won't be before 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Of course, if you were following Mark Selby, that it'd probably be not before 2 a.m.
Yeah,
So just happy it'll be on the same day, frankly.
great
Uh,
stuff. So
it'll
that
be
that's
a tough
that's
match.
all this week in Cheltenham, live on ITV4, ITVX. Right. You've already mentioned it, Sean. The Netflix series Matchroom, The Greatest Showmen. We're both in it, by the way, very briefly. I mean, we're both in it extremely briefly.
Do you get your royalty check?
Do you know what? I don't think I've actually signed off on it. There you go. Anyway, let's get away from that one. First of all, great series. Okay. It's a brilliant series. It's a proper insight into that organization. They say it's £1 billion organization. I'm not sure if it is or not, but it's a great insight into that organization. If you have any interest in sport whatsoever, you will enjoy that documentary. Okay. Plus, I'm in it, and so Sean. So, little bonus for everyone. However, I watched it. I didn't think Snooker came out very well.
Why not?
Right. Bear in mind now, I've worked for Matchroom Boxing. I've worked for the PDC Darts. I've worked for World Snooker Tour. I've worked for Matchroom Multisport on snooker, on pool, on fishing. Okay. So I've worked for that whole organization. I've worked for every part of it. I felt personally the snooker bits, they went to Saudi and the bits of the Saudi they covered was all about Ronnie O'Sullivan is snooker, full stop. It was all Ronnie O'Sullivan. Listen, I'm not daft enough. Ronnie O'Sullivan is massive. Okay. He is huge. In the world of snooker, in the world of sport, Ronnie O'Sullivan is huge. Can't go away from that. Don't want to get away from that at all. Even in Saudi, Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith, who run Matchroom Boxing, even over there, they were walking around in Saudi going, where is this venue? Where is this venue? Oh, I can't find this venue. And it showed them like walking around the streets trying to find the venue and all that, which I didn't think was great for snooker. Um, so that was everything in Saudi was Ronnie based. And then the only other snooker on it, as you said before, they went to the Brentwood Centre. And I didn't think it showed snooker in the best light. It was pretty much going to Brentwood Centre. Oh, Ronnie's got knocked out. So that's sort of the end of this tournament. And there's a pigeon in the arena. And then it cut to a shot in the tournament office. And I think it was Rob Spencer, like, what can we do? Oh, it's a pigeon and not a lot we can do. And I just thought, God, they're showing like the glitz and the glamour of the darts, the glitz and the glamour of the boxing and the pool and all this. And then it's like, oh, there's a pigeon on the table one. And my own personal thought, I didn't think snooker was represented in a wonderful light.
Mm.
And
I didn't either, and I was disappointed with it. Um, I thought it showed snooker in quite a negative light, and bearing in mind Matchroom was created because of snooker. Without snooker, Matchroom wouldn't exist. Barry Hearn would be a chartered accountant who you'd never heard of. You certainly would never have heard of Eddie Hearn.
yeah,
And I was very disappointed with how they portrayed snooker. I felt like they portrayed it as if it was the ugly relative.
yeah,
Uh,
that's sort of the point I'm getting across. I thought it was a great documentary. I thought it was a brilliant documentary. I thought you saw have it knowing those people a little bit. I think you saw them how they are. You saw Barry exactly how he is. You saw Eddie exactly how he is, and Emily and Frank and all these people. Um, I just I think there is a lot more to snooker. There's a lot more positive, a lot more great stuff about snooker that really wasn't put across in the documentary. Now, listen, a lot of that will be to do with editing. A lot of that will be to do with the producer, the editor, the director, whatever, putting it together. And yeah, boxing is this like huge glamorous thing, and yeah, Luke Little has made the darts this thing as well and global, and the amount of money it generates and all that. I just think there's a lot more good points, a lot more selling points to snooker than they got across in that documentary, and I thought it was a little bit harsh on the sport.
Yeah, I would agree. I would totally agree. I was disappointed, as I say. I thought the way snooker was represented in it. And I suppose, like with the other flip side of the coin, I suppose it showed perhaps how difficult a sell snooker is.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't have some of the other sellable commercial aspects that some of those other sports have. Does it? It doesn't have the big, rivalries and the weigh-ins and the banter's not the right word for it, is it? Because it's more than banter. That boxing
just a
doesn't
bit.
have that. Um, it doesn't have the lager swilling, chant singing, 8, 9,000 ticket arenas being sold out around the world that darts has. Um, and you start looking at it and going, oh, to survive in the world and the way the world's going, is the game and the way it's marketed and stuff, is it going to have to change to keep pace? Because like I think as a sport, like I think we're right up there. I certainly think there's more skill in snooker than certainly than darts or fishing. Um, and some other sports. I mean, boxing's I think on its own because of the physicality of it.
Yeah,
But do you know what I'm trying to say? I feel like
yeah, I get.
what's the snooker coverage? It's quiet. You've got to sit there and be still. You can't all the stuff. Maybe you would choose to go to the darts. Maybe you choose to go and have a better night out, and you just
Yeah,
think, oh, But what I thought from it came loud and clear to me was it just felt as if it looked as if the least amount of effort of all of their business interests goes into the snooker. That's how it looked to
yeah.
me.
I don't think that's true. Yes, it's how it looked, but in reality, I don't think that is the reality. I don't think that is the truth. I just don't think it is. But I don't know. It was very,
Yeah,
very.
because those other sports, I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but those other sports, are they wholly owned and run by Matchroom?
Well, I mean, the sports aren't boxing. There's other promoters. Yes, darts. Yeah, darts is. I mean, the PDC is purely Matchroom, but boxing. There's other promoters. There's other organisations. It's not just Matchroom. Obviously, they run Matchroom boxing, but they don't run the entire sport. Um, yeah, I don't know. Listen, watch it. It's a great series. I think it's a great series. I'd recommend it to anyone. Very, very good, and it's been a massive success. It was number 2 in the Netflix charts. It's a massive success. Because it's been a massive success, there will be a second series.
What was the
Okay.
point? What was the point of it? What,
Um,
what was it for?
to give an insight into Matchroom, into the world's biggest sporting promotional organization. Um, or it was a vanity project. You tell me. You decide on that one. One or the other, but a lot of these things are. But it's really funny. I was with someone at the weekend who was saying that they know Barry Hearn a little bit, and I know Barry Hearn a little bit, but Barry Hearn once said to them, it's not enough to be a really, really good sports promoter. You have to be famous. And that's what that documentary does. One thing I would say is it does, again, like the TNT thing, it puts snooker in front of new sets of eyes, okay? That's why it's a little bit disappointing that I don't think it did snooker justice, the same as you think. Because if those new people are getting to see it for the first time and understand that, oh, snooker, it is a global sport and everything else, if it's being represented as, oh, as a pigeon on table one, it's not, that's not great. It should be done better, I think. But
I'll tell you what there is mileage in is I think one of these behind the scenes fly on the wall documentaries about snooker.
yeah,
I think
100%.
we've seen it with the F1, the tennis, golf, all these other things. I think snooker is crying out for that because the old classic, oh, there's no characters in the game anymore.
Nonsense.
Absolute
Complete
nonsense.
nonsense.
I think a fly on the wall documentary following the snooker tour for a year would change a lot of people's opinions on the game itself and those naysayers about our sport. But also I think it'd change a lot of people's opinions on a lot of players
Yeah, I think
uh,
it would. So there you go.
about what really.
There's the come and get me plea Netflix or Amazon Prime. Let's have a behind the scenes snooker doc. Right, we're going to take a very very short break. After this, we're not going to come back with a rant. We're going to come back with a rehashed round from Have I Got News for You. See you after this. You're listening to the 147 podcast with Shaun Murphy and Phil Seymour. If you like what you're listening to, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and be sure to interact with us across all forms of social media at 147pod. That's the words at 147pod. Yeah, please do. And we do appreciate when people do, message us and reply to us on social media. It's great. And we've got questions coming up later on. We've got a top three coming up later on, which have all been sent in by people. But for now, right, Have I Got News for You used to do a thing where there would get publications, always be a guest publication, and you had to guess the missing words from the headline, okay? So, Shaun Murphy, the magician, here you go. A headline from yesterday's Metro. I'd like you to try and complete this. Chris Wakelin, unimpressed with Kyron Wilson versus Shaun Murphy, blank. What's the blank?
uh, Saga.
Nope.
uh, Geez, I loved Have I Got News for You as well.
Brilliant program, wasn't it? Wasn't it great? Apart from the fact that
Absolutely no idea. No idea. What is
it
it?
did aid and abet Boris Johnson's rise to fame. Chris Wakelin unimpressed with Kyron Wilson versus Shaun Murphy sausage competition. Now, Shaun, is there something you need to tell us? What's going on with
Sausage
you and
competition.
Kyron Wilson and your sausages?
What does he mean?
Idea.
Sausage competition.
He's from the Midlands, isn't he? I don't know.
I feel like there's a little bit of innuendo in there.
It's something to do with you two arguing about who's the best rest player, and I think Mr. Wakelin's sick of it.
Oh goodness. Okay. Do you think we just took the Mickey out of his trousers too much? Is that what's
It,
happened?
it could be what it was. It could also be you on the old in-flight business class meal situation that you talked about on the podcast once.
I gave him my dessert.
He didn't say that bit on his social media though, did he? It could be some of that. It could be
Wow.
some of that.
Chris, I gave you my dessert when that hostess wasn't going to give you anything. That cabin steward didn't want to give you anything. And now you've thrown me under the bus about my rest play with Kyron Wilson.
Or maybe
Well,
this is maybe just Chris Wakelin doing his come and get me plea to Netflix and Amazon Prime to do a snooker documentary because they probably don't know there's sausage competitions going on in the background, Sean.
unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. He's only annoyed because EQ's like a Cumberland.
Oh wow. Do you know when Karen beat him last night? I would have loved it if he'd just handed him a chipolata at the end and says, "How's that sausage, Chris?"
I do like a sausage, to be
Yeah.
fair.
There you go. Yeah, Phil Haig. Credit to Phil Haig because that is headline of the year. Phil Haig, sausage competition. Absolutely brilliant. Right. No rant today. Let's get straight on to listener questions then. All of these have been sent in on social media at 147pod across all forms of social media. Shaun, kick us off.
First one in, Martin Yap. Happy new season. Thank you. I've not watched that much so far due to work. Never watch on catch up, to be honest, if I know the result. He says, is Shaun happy so far with his personal results and where do you think Stan Moody will end at the end of the season? All reports say he's playing well. Well, I would echo that. I think
Yeah.
Stan's having a really good season. He sort of feels like he's, shed that weight of expectation in terms of being rookie and all the rest of it. I think for me, looks like someone who's started to believe and fancies the job. Like, I believe that he's, training hard, practicing hard, doing all the right things. And I think you can see that on his performances are starting to, just dig into that potential that he absolutely has, no question about it. In terms of my own results, like I would have loved to have gone further in events. I would have loved to have had some silverware by now. I haven't been close. But, I am playing well. I'm not going to say my game's trending in the right
No,
direction.
don't say that again.
Let me put that another way. But, things are going in the right direction. And I know that it is just around the corner.
Good. That's great stuff. So yeah, I echo what you say on Stan as well. He's looking the real deal, isn't he? Which is
Yeah,
great. No,
yeah.
we have trumpeted him on here many times, and hopefully that carries on. So, absolutely. As opposed to, yeah, it's more as opposed to. There you go. So you need to be more fanfare than sad trombone. Right. Harris GTJ. Hi, happy for the new season of the podcast. You're more than welcome. I've really missed it. That's nice to hear. Started taking my snooker more seriously and play once a fortnight, if not weekly, but I'm still suffering. That's what happens when you play snooker. You just suffer. I know this. I have a decent fundamental cue action, but often miss simple shots. Is it better to just play a frame against myself or others and play what comes, or do lineups and work in accuracy and techniques? Thank you. Very polite, Harris GTJ. Sean, one for you, that.
Yeah, a bit of both, I'm afraid. And we live in this world and the culture now, don't we? Everybody wants fast results. Everyone wants to be good at something quickly. Unfortunately, with a sport like snooker, you've got to put the time in and you've got to do both. You've got to do the accuracy, the techniques, those practice routines where you learn about cue ball control and all of that stuff. And then you've got to play the frame scenarios, play against others or play a lot of frames against yourself. I do that on a daily basis. I'm playing frames with myself, trying to outmaneuver yourself because the balls go in realistic positions. Um, yeah, I think you need to do both, unfortunately. There are no shortcuts.
There you go, then. Yeah, practice, 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 bit of everything. Is your answer? Sure.
Next question comes in from Magda. She says, I'm very happy that my favorite podcast is back. Well, that's nice. Thank you very much.
She didn't say it was
All the
ours.
best. All the, yeah, she, yeah, sorry, you didn't clarify. Yeah, can we
I
clarify?
hope, Magda, I hope you do mean it, but there you go.
All the best in the new season. The Ding curse was recently broken. I would like to know if the players were aware of it and talked about it. Did Stan Moody know about it when he was playing Ding, and whether, apart from such a great performance, it gave him an additional reason to be proud? Well,
Great.
I can tell you everyone was definitely aware of it. Was it 18 months the Ding curse was in play for?
18 or 20 months. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely, it was ludicrous, to be honest.
Bonkers.
Yeah, it was weird. So go on then. So Stan going into that match, will he have been aware of it? Will he have been thinking, you know, ding curse, therefore I should lose this game?
I think stuff like that still has one or both feet in the myth camp. I think they're still like, a bit hocus pocus. I don't think anyone's going into the match thinking, well, I can't win this match.
Hmm.
But people were definitely aware of it, as a thing because it would just, it happened a few times and people are like, oh, that's funny. Well, as you say, 18 or 20 months this went on for,
Yeah.
covered I think it covered two or three seasons worth of play. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't have gone into the match thinking, well, get the flight booked home. I can't win this one. But yeah, he'd be delighted to get,
Yeah.
any win is a good win.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on. Harry Garner. Harry says hello. Hello, Harry. Predictions for standout young player this year. Well, we've just mentioned Stan. I mean, Stan's got to be in there. Liam Pullen's got to be in there. He beat Stan, of course, last week in Brentwood. Um, and personally, I'm going to throw young Michael Shubarchik in there as well because he's a talent. We've not really seen much of him yet, but he's a real talent, isn't he?
He is real talent. He's also going to be about 9'8".
Is he
When
that
he,
big? Is he?
yeah, when he stops growing. Yeah, I will just throw the name Julian Boyko in there.
I bumped into him. I bumped into him 2 weeks ago. It was quite weird actually. I was with our good friend Ricky Wilson down in Sheffield, in the Porsche dealership, and this blonde-haired man grinning away at me. He says, "Hi, Phil." I'm like, "Julian, how are you?" And it was just a weird, really weird coincidence. I'm there with our friend Ricky, chatting to Julian Boyko, who happened to walk in. Yeah, but real nice lad, by the way. But how old is Julian now? 'Cause he
I
seems to
think
have
he,
been on for
I think
ages.
he just turned 20
He
yesterday.
really?
Funnily enough,
Wow.
yeah.
It feels like he's been on the scene for ages, but of course he broke through so young, didn't he? Playing at the shootout initially, the way a lot of the young players start, and then making his way onto the tour and off the tour and back on. But yeah, listen, Boyko on his day is a match for anyone, isn't he?
Well, I just know behind the scenes, a bit of inside information here that he's working very closely with a good friend of mine. And I know that he's doing all the right things away from tournaments. He's really grafting. There's a lot of players out there who think they're practicing hard, and they're not. They're just doing the sort of the minimum to get by. I know that out there's a few players, and Julian's included in them. He is working overtime. And, if you put that a level of effort in, you deserve what you get. So I think
Absolutely.
he's coming.
Oh, good. There we go. So there, we've thrown a few at you there. Then, Harry, hope that answers your question.
Podcast favourite, Jaffa Thundercat.
Japheth and Adcat, or Jeff of Thundercat, whichever floats your boat.
Sorry, Jaffa. You will always be known as Jaffa Thundercat.
Well, yeah.
Hi, 147 Pod. Great to have you back for the new season. Quick one. Could Shaun ever do a demo on how he casually throws the balls into the pocket? Yeah, this was a little clip I did on the YouTube channel a few weeks ago. Still mesmerized by that. Also, has he ever tried or seen Russian billiards, aka Russian pyramid? Looks brutal. 12-foot table, and the pockets are only about 3 millimeters bigger than the balls. Well, here's a good little story for you. In 1998, I turned pro as a very sweet-faced, young, impressionable 15-year-old. And my first job I was given by the WPBSA, as it was then, was to go out to Moscow representing snooker with representatives from other cue sports um, and do a presentation for the Olympic Committee
Oh, yes. You've spoke about this before, yeah.
who were in attendance there at the World Youth Games. And there was myself, there was Peter Gilchrist with English billiards, there was a Russian pyramid player, and there was an American nine ball player who was more of a trick shot specialist called Mike Massey. And the four of us put on a 2 day demonstration for this IOC committee. I did have a go at Russian pyramid. It's the one, it's got a pyramid of basically cue balls and one red ball. And you've either got a potter ball or going off. You can use any of the cue balls.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a ridiculous game. It's so difficult. Uh, but yeah, I have seen it. I've had a go at it. And all I can say is I'm thankful that I'm a snooker player.
There you go. Right. As for you throwing the balls into pockets, I loved that video. I thought the video was brilliant. What was even better was the outtakes.
Yeah.
The outtakes
All
video,
know that. The outtakes are always the
which
best.
since posted, is because the original video looks like you just do it every single time. Oh, it's dead easy. This. The outtakes was brilliant. So if anyone hasn't seen it yet, go over to Sean's social media because it's a cracking video. That an absolutely cracking video. So yeah, because can you do a demo on how you do it? That's what he's asking.
Yeah. Not really, no. The video is up, isn't it? Go and watch the video. You'll see how to do it.
Can't give those techniques away, right? Emma Truman, I have a question for Sean. If you've been knocked out of a tournament, do you watch the snooker? And if you could pick a match to watch, who would be your ideal players to watch? Present players, that is, she says.
I do watch a bit of the snooker. Obviously, I stay behind at the BBC events because I'm on the broadcasting
Hey,
team. But yeah, I do watch a bit. I love it. I'm a fan of the game. As well as a player, I count myself very lucky to still love the sport. In terms of ideal players to watch, I mean, everyone loves watching Ronnie play. The best ever. I think everyone can still learn from watching him play. I don't think there's any question about that. And then just my natural style is more attacking. So, I'd rather watch a player who gets on with it and goes for their shots rather than watching a very tactically minded, hard fought player. I love watching Jack Lazowski play.
yep.
So, yeah,
I
no,
was
I
gonna say
do.
I took my dad to York once, and I was fortunate. I get him in early, and there's four tables in the arena, I think it was, and I said, right, where do you want to sit? He said, who's on? And I said, oh, such and such on there, such and such on there. And on tables one and two, there was Neil Robertson on table one and Jack Lazowski on table two. He said, right, can I sit in between those two tables? Because that's dreamland for me. He said, if I can watch Neil Robertson there and Jack Lazowski there, he said, that's heaven for me. And I'm like, right, Dad, sit there. I'll go to the bar. And he had one of the best afternoons he's had in years. It was brilliant.
So,
So
so,
there you go.
so. Okay, right. The next question in from Antonio Franchini. Now, I
Right,
feel
now,
like I
now
need to do and I feel like I need to do my fake Italian for that now.
this is now battling Jaffa Thundercat for my favourite correspondent name.
I see. We got the next message is from Antonio Franchini.
See, that's borderline racism. That accent is borderline racism, and you know it as well. That's shocking. Carry on.
I've been watching The Godfather for a long time. I know that was very close.
Close to
New season, new podcast question for me. Easy for me to say. Put my teeth back in. When lining up your next shot, what is the most important part about stance? Do you have to ensure legs are lined up or is it the body? I've been getting tips off my mate who's an ex snooker pro, and now after playing, I have sore legs from standing as he told me to. He said if my legs don't hurt, I've not been doing it right. What are your thoughts on this? Antonio, your friend, is winding you up.
oh, brilliant. So go on.
Is your friend called Mr. Miyagi? Does he have you standing on one leg, balancing to play like the crane? Does he have you doing the crane?
Oh no. Go on then. So help Antonio Franchini out then.
Oh, goodness. Um, well, the most important thing about sighting and lining yourself up are your eyes. So forget about putting your feet on the line, your hip on the line, your leg on the line. Make sure your eyes are on the line of the shot, and then work it out from there. The trick is to do whatever feels right for you. But if it hurts, then you're doing it wrong.
Probably not right, is it? It's probably not right. And Antonio Franchini never play snooker in a mankini. Helen Wills, great to have you back. Really enjoying the bits of snooker I've been able to see so far this season. Match timings have made them tricky for me to watch live, though. We've got tickets to the British Open in Cheltenham. Enjoy that this week, Helen. And the Masters at Ali Pali, and can't wait. My question is, and we've already spoken about it at length on this podcast, it's been great to see Stan Moody do so well. How do you see him progressing this season? When do you think we'll see him win a ranking tournament? That's
How
I,
long's a piece of string, isn't it? I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
I'll pitch in with this. Winning a ranking tournament is ridiculously difficult. You know, 128 players on the tour. The level of snooker right now is the best it's ever been. Look at the number of 147s we're getting, and not just from the top four. You know, they're coming right throughout the tour. Um, I really hope we do see him win one or more than one. Um, as for when it'll be, like you say, how long is that piece of string shot?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question, isn't it? How many great players have there been throughout the life of snooker who've never won a ranking event?
Yeah,
Um, let's just throw Jack Lazowski in there,
straight
off
under
the
the
bat.
bus.
Let's throw Jack under the bus.
Yeah,
How talented do you have to be?
yeah.
And I think that shows that's the answer, isn't it? Talent's only one of the vital ingredients. You need more than that. But I think Stan's got the things that you need, to be honest with you.
I
And
think
I'll be amazed if Stan Moody doesn't win a ranking event at some stage. I think he's got the potential to be one of the best players in the world, and he's very gifted. And I wish him all the best.
do you know what? He's only, what is he, 19, 20?
Something like that, yeah.
There is zero rush. He's doing he's doing very, very, very well. You look at his ranking, you look at where he is in the world right now, he's doing very, very well. So he just needs to keep progressing the way he is.
Keep
Simple.
doing what you're doing. That's
Simple
it.
as. I make it sound really easy, don't I? Simple. Yeah, dead simple, isn't it? Not at all. Anyway, moving on.
Goodness. Right, Richie in Waterford, Ireland. Hey guys. So I've played the first two events on the Irish snooker calendar this season. The first amateur tour, where I was beaten in the last 16 by David Morris, former tour player who went on to win the event. I then played the first challenge event of the season this weekend, just gone. And although I wasn't at the races and I was beaten the last 32 by Albert Hogan, you'll never guess who went on to win the event. That's right, Albert Hogan. So I've played two events, and both times that player has beat me and has gone on to win the tournament. Sounds familiar, Shaun? Love the podcast, guys. Yeah, thanks for that, Richie.
In Waterford Island, as your GP, which I now am, I am diagnosing Murphy syndrome. That's what you've got there. You have got Murphy syndrome, my friend. Um, wow, that's just you all over that, isn't it?
Richie, I'm prescribing you 2 Domino's pizzas and 4 pints of Aspel cider and to go back to the practice table. That's what you need. That's what I do. That's the secret. Keep
That's what it
trying.
is. But Richie, do you know what? You live in Waterford, which is a beautiful, beautiful place. It's a wonderful place. I've spent a bit of time there. It's a great, great city. Right, Niall Greenfield. Great that the pod is back for another season. Question for one of the episodes. I like this one. It's a good question. This. How does a snooker coach fairly split their time between players at tournaments? Shaun is working with Peter Ebdon. However, Peter is also working with other players. How does Peter see Shaun as well as other players, etc.? Similar to when Shaun played Selby in the Worlds in the final in 21. Both were working with Chris Henry. Can't wait for the next episode. Thank you as always. So yeah, this has intrigued me. Thank you for that, Niall. This has intrigued me. So in that final, Chris was coaching you both, right?
Yeah.
So how? Who does he warm up with? Who does he go with at the intervals? What happens?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a mess, to be honest. I don't think anyone covered themselves in glory over that weekend. Looking back, I think really what should have happened is, probably Chris should have shook both our hands at the start of the match and walked away.
Yeah,
You can't split your time between two dressing rooms. It just doesn't work. And of course, somebody always calls your loyalty in, don't they? You've got to pick a team, pick a side,
pick a side.
pick a side. Um, Good thing with Peter is that I think I'm the only top 32 player he works with. Certainly, I think I'm back in the top 16 now from the last
Yes,
episode on the
you are.
ranking. So
Yes.
I can say I'm the only top 16 player he works with. And so when you start doing that, the maths and the statistics and the chances of you ending up in a position like Mark and I did in 21 in the final of the World Championships or one of the other majors is slim. The chance of that happening again with one of the other players that Peter works with the greatest of respect, that we both end up in the final. The chances of that happening are remote. But then, of course, like you have a situation like last night where I played Ross Muir, who is a player that Peter worked with until quite recently. So there's all, the fact
Yeah,
we all
yeah,
know each other so well. It's such a close knit family network on the tour that, even if you're not working with players, you all know each other so well. But having the same coach in the corner isn't great. I think it's just something you have to get on with.
yeah,
I think the chances of a repeat of 21 are
yeah.
zero.
Slim to none. Slim to none. Right, there we go. Hope that's answered your question. Last question then from a listener before we move on to the top three. Kieran from County Down. A lot from Ireland this week. A lot from Ireland. Question for the podcast, guys. Watching the English Open final, the players are in action, and you can loudly hear snooker balls being potted elsewhere in the venue. I've heard this before in finals. Question is, who's playing snooker elsewhere and why? There's a final on. Surely other players aren't back there practicing. Don't call me Shirley. As why would they be there in the first place? Bit of a silly question, I know, but it's baffled me. As a silly follow up, referee Kevin Dabrowski has to have the most heavy feet I've ever heard. For such a thin, handsome man, he is a thin, handsome man, is Kevin as well. It sounds like a herd of wildebeest when he's around the table. Right, Kieran from County Down. First of all, Kevin Dabrowski, brilliant to see him refereeing ranking event finals. He is a top man, a top referee, just a genuinely lovely guy is Kevin. As for heavy feet, I didn't notice that. I've got to say, I've not noticed that. But if you've heard it, you've heard it. Um, as for why there's someone practicing when the final's on, two words. In fact, three words: Jimmy Whirlwind White. That's who. Agreed, Shaun?
Probably.
Yeah, it's probably Jimmy. If Ronnie's there doing punditry, it could well be Ronnie O'Sullivan as well. But Jimmy White is he's never off the practice table. Like literally, they have a TV in the practice area, and he will watch the snooker on the TV and practice at the same time. So if you can hear balls being potted, and if you can hear them loudly, it probably is the whirlwind, isn't it?
I have to say though, Kieran, this is one of my biggest gripes, and I haven't ranted about this, and we're near the end of the episode, but this could well be a rant of mine because I just think it's horrific. Like we are out there playing, put the practice tables somewhere else.
Oh, sorry, the Brentwood set. Where do you want them? In the swimming pool? In the gym?
Don't care. It is utterly ridiculous that you'll be out there competing in a match where there's only one table from the semis or final onwards, and you can hear as a player, you can hear other people knocking balls around. It's a total ridiculousness. I totally agree.
There you go. But yeah, it's Jimmy White. It's generally Jimmy White. So there you go. Right.
There used to be a long running thing that Jimmy's driver Kevin Kelly would have a long running season long match with former presenter Andy
Yeah, he did.
Goldstein.
He
He
did.
used to
Yeah.
have like a best of 405. And
Yeah,
as soon as they'd thrown to you to introduce the players into the
they
arena,
were on there.
down the stairs, get the cues out, and carry on.
I would walk off set. I would announce the players out, walk off set. By the time I walked off set by the practice tables, Andy Goldstein and Kevin Kelly were on the tables playing. It was
Totally,
part of their saga match, yeah.
totally ridiculous. What I will say though is that I feel like my memo to World Snooker must have worked because upstairs in Cheltenham, in the Centaur, way away from anyone, is a table in a room all on its own, and next to this table is a grand piano.
Yeah, I saw your picture. So
So I finally got my way. That rider has hit the spot.
step away from the piano, Sean. Okay, thank you for all your questions. Do appreciate them. At 147 Pod across all forms of social media. Right, just time then for our top three. Went down well last time. This people getting right behind my fish and chips. Every fortnight, we're going to give out top three picks on a subject of one of the listeners' choices. It can be anything at all. This week, Michael De Silva wants us both to give out our top three places in the world we will never visit again and why. Now, you've been struggling with this, Sean. I've got to say, I've got three. Two are again, and one is just we'll never visit. So go on, give us your three, Sean.
Can we go one at a time?
Yeah, go on then. Number three.
Luxor,
Luxor. Why Luxor?
hellhole.
Okay. You can expand on that,
Awful.
or we just
It
leave it?
was awful.
Okay, brilliant. My number three is Glenrothes in Scotland, which I'm in Scotland at the moment, so I hope I managed to get out okay.
You're in Scotland, you can't say that.
Right. Glenrothes. There's a reason for this. I was training for a half marathon. I was in a hotel in Glenrothes. Thought, right, I'll put my shoes on, go for a run. Went for a run. Every street in Glenrothes, I swear to the good Lord God, has got a fish and chip shop. Right? So I'm trying to run. I'm trying to do a 5 or a 10K around Glenrothes. And every single street I go down, I'm getting a lungful of fish and chips. And it was a killer, right? And it's given me PTSD, can never ever go back to Glenrothes. So that one's off the list. It's gone. Go on, what's your number two?
San Francisco.
Oh, why? Yeah, I thought you were really looking forward to going to San Francisco.
I was.
But,
Didn't like it.
oh,
Was disappointed with San Francisco looking back. Didn't like it at all. The best bit about San Francisco was the wine train in Napa Valley, an hour and a half's journey from San Francisco.
so the best bit about San Francisco was an hour and a half away.
Correct.
Brilliant. Okay, my number two is Egypt as a whole.
Jeez, you're very close to my number three with
Yeah,
Luxor.
it is. Yeah, it is. I've been to Egypt 3 times. Every time I've been to Egypt, I've been on an all-inclusive holiday and I've lost weight. You can work out yourself why I don't want to go back to Egypt, okay? It's not great for that. I'll leave it there. What's your number one, Sean? Number one place you will not go back to in the world.
The number one place I will not go back to in the world
You say York, I'm on my way to Cheltenham to thump you.
is Matt Seltz Taylor.
Oh! Oh, wow. If you'd said Chris Wakeley on there, that would have been killer, wouldn't it? Matt Seltz Taylor. What's Matt Seltz Taylor done?
Have you seen Matt's snooker outfits?
Yeah, that is a fair shout, actually. Okay, well, my number one, the place in the world I will never visit, not again, because I've never visited it, and why. My number one is, of course, the Kyron Wilson and Shaun Murphy sausage competition. It's not for me.
Yeah, but who do you think's the best with the rest?
I'm not going into it because
Come on, get your tape measure out. Come on.
ask Chris Wakelin.
Chris? Chris?
He's probably still looking for his pockets, Sean. He's busy looking for pockets. That's what he's doing. Okay, Sean, good luck in Cheltenham this week.
Thank you.
All the very best there. Yeah, it's a big week down there, and we'll watch you on ITV and cheer you on, no doubt. So thanks once again to everyone for listening or watching, of course, on the Shaun Murphy Snooker YouTube channel. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time, Sean, will we?
Absolutely. We've promised it once. We've kept it. We're going to promise it twice and do our very, very best.
There you go. It's a very goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye.